Let's see. Jan 12 post show. There we go. Hey everybody, welcome to the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide Post Show. We do this little segment and hangout after the show is over, where we can continue to talk about some of the stuff we were talking about, or if we felt like we've handled it fairly well, talk about pizza or movies or something like that. I almost said Pizzagate because it's YouTube. That seems to be the only thing that's going on right now. But we're talking about the actual food is what I meant. 67 votes needed in the Senate. Thank you for that, Dan, to override a veto. Yes. How can we get that mariachi band to play the Marvel Avengers theme in Lafayette Park? I don't know. 290 votes needed in the House to override a veto. Thanks, Professor Eric Prince is even more horrible because he's somewhat more competent. That's true of everybody but Trump, though. That's the ongoing issue, is that it's the enablers that are the big danger. So, but P.S. How you guys doing? How's everybody doing? Hello. I got lost when you look directly into the camera. Hello. Let's see. I'll move this over here so I can actually read the chat and stay fairly close to it. I have to look way up into a corner on my screen. That's right. Chicago thick crust pizza. White pizza. It's funny because of how I've been eating lately. I have not had pizza probably. I had like a bite of pizza in December. One single bite. But I have not had a slice. And no pineapples on pizza. Completely agree. I'm not 100% against it, but yeah. I may have been saying gibberish, Julie, quite frankly. I used to have 4 keyboards at my work, so I'm used to it since I work for a radio station. I'm director of my station, a personal IT technician. I used to feel the pain too. Yeah, I've got 2 keyboards, and I've got this movable one. And then, of course, I'm dealing with the typing into the iPad, which is right here. There we go. So, yeah. I'm doing great. Let's see. Anybody discuss Fox's hatred of AOC? That's not surprising, though. I mean, they're always looking for the most liberal candidate ever in the history of it. Like, that's just how they do. Like, that's not surprising. I think they really jump on her because she's so telegenic, because she's beautiful. And I think they play her a lot because they get it's a double whammy. On the one hand, they get to slam a liberal socialist that they hate and freak out about it. On the other hand, they get to show film and video and pictures of her because they're attracted to her. That's it. 100%. Let's see. They're just like us. They have a different complexion. Great job. Read 36 weeks, and yet this 5-minute ceremony is stressing me out. You can eat the sauce and cheese on a lettuce wrap, though. Ew. Yeah, that's gross, though. If I'm going to eat it, I'll eat it. Can we trust our food now? Are the inspectors doing their job? A lot of them are working without pay, and I don't think they're going to skimp on what they do. But if they're losing people, stuff can get through. That's absolutely right. Yes, I agree, Maureen. I think they're crushing on her as well. Just checking to see if you got my email I sent you with the 80s, 90s Mac gaming setup, playing Ghosts and Goblins Heart. Oh, I didn't see it, but let me call it up because that's awesome. I was just at CES yesterday. Oh, boy. Some stuff so nice. Oh, my gosh. My big thing that I want is... This is my next kind of big purchase. Here, I'll show you in 1 second. Bring this up. Let's see if I can just move this over here. Yeah, there we go. This is it. The Formlabs 3D printer. And they had this little 3D printer and then this little curing and cleaning thing. It's pretty sweet because it uses a laser as opposed to a, it's not like the additive 3D printing things that I use or whatever. And they just came out with a flexible filaments. You can make rubber stuff and movable things and hello. But you can use it to make like functional things in the house more so than just like hard plastic stuff, which is pretty exciting. Let's see if they have a. I'm gonna see if they have like video of it working, because the laser's pretty sweet. Maybe let's see. Where is it? Where? Yeah. So this is like this one's the closest thing to like, oh, you could make something totally useful across the board. People need to get paid. This is not going to go well for the Republicans come the next election. I completely agree. How much does it cost? It's about $5,000 in the package. It's like $3,000 for the printer, and $5,000 for the side cleaning device and all that kind of stuff. The wash and cure device that goes with it, because you have to. These kind of things, the resin stuff, you rinse in isopropyl alcohol to take off the excess resin. It's it's a thing. I'll get it eventually. How would you make with that 3D printer? I make with my other 3D printer. I make like toys for Camden, and I modify stuff. I also made props for lab rats with my other 3D printer. And so this is just some of it required some finishing, like the original stuff that I did, and like. If you're making like custom light switch plates is one of the things people like to do pretty easily. If you're making custom ones, they have to be finished, like sanded and painted and stuff when you do it with a regular like ABS style additive printer, like the ones I have. The resin ones are so smooth that it looks like something store-bought almost right away. It's impressive. So that's mostly like that. It's what I want to experiment with. Yeah, will 3D printer make a wall? Well, the contour crafting thing, the 3D printing, used for construction that I want to do my house with, could absolutely be done with a wall. It could absolutely do a wall. Watch me. I'm gonna offer to design. Get out of here. Federal government award for rapid response construction. That's interesting. Department of Defense has rewarded Contour Crafting Corporation with a Rapid Innovation Fund contract in the domain of large and construction scale 3D printing. The outcome of this fund, they're going to be 3D printing the wall using Contour Crafting Incorporated. Yeah. So the house, here, I'll show you the 3D printing concept of contour crafting, where they these are the kind of the big square-based systems where they put stuff on a track, and then as the track goes, it just kind of prints it out or whatever, and then you lay in the rebar. It is not. This is how I want to build my house. So, but there's a lot of limitations on how you're able to and what you're allowed to build as far as living structures. It has to pass a lot of inspections and stuff, which I'm for. It should. But a lot of the stuff that they're talking about building and where it's going to be used in the future and that kind of stuff, like they'll let you build houses on Mars with it, but you can't do it with, can't do a house on, in Antelope Valley with it. You know what I mean? Like that seems silly to me. So anyways, so that's the 3D printing thing. So one of the things I'm going to do is pre-design my house, 3D print it in a complete scale, and then take each part of that, to, take each part of that to, the zoning and like boards and people I have to convince, especially in Cali because of earthquakes. Well, that's the thing is like it's contour crafting. This kind of concrete 3D printing is actually more resilient against it than against earthquakes than standard construction. What is the material? It's a special quick dry concrete. And Mars needs building codes. That's right. Since Cialdini's staying in D.C., they can take wall money from the grant program created to reimburse first responders. They can try. I doubt they would get away with it. Bet you Patriot Radio doesn't discuss this up. No, definitely not. Hander 3D printer could make your house. Hangler? What's that, Edward? Hangler? I have to look that up. Because I'm going to do a documentary about the process. Because I actually believe that that's the new wave of construction, quite frankly. How you're one of my favorite actor comedians. Lost you. She retracted it. How sad. We had an earthquake in OC yesterday. It was centered in northeast Yorba Linda. Just kidding, but made 3D printed wall possible. I mean, you could print like Legos beyond measure and build everything out of these kind of like uber dense Legos, but you don't want to make stuff out of plastic. There's now steel and concrete 3D printers, and I saw some of them at CES. They're very cool. Hanger printer. I don't say that again. What time do you do your live? I'm right now. I'm live right now. Just ordered on a new phone scam involving fallen officers' phones. Yeah, they call old people and try to snag stuff out of. Is there a 3D printing material that is that would be fireproof? Well, yeah. I mean, concrete. Marlon firmware and on. Okay. You're my favorite actor and character in live rise. Well, good. I'm glad. Thanks. How do you 3D? How can a 3D printer form steel? There's two versions of it. One is it uses this kind of like high heat flex. It's almost like a mild welding form, but they use this like dense metal fiber material and a bonding agent, and that's what gets it together. Now that's for smaller metal objects like prototyping, things that don't revolve around a lot of like high heat. You wouldn't do an engine block using that, for example. But there's reductive 3D printing with steel, which is you have it, it literally etches it out, and that's more for design stuff. You just pour concrete or pour molds for most steel. That's the more efficient way to do it still. But you can make car parts with reductive 3D printing. Guys, I gotta go with the wife to Home Depot to pick out plants for our backyard. Be well, Carl. Enjoy. Have fun with your petunias. Oh, it's suspended by wires, and X, Y, and Z are moved by 3 of the 4 wires. Is that kind of like a Delta printer? Is that what you're thinking of? Kind of, That's cool, Gary. You guys have your own special twin language. That's impressive. Who do you think will be the Dem choice to run in 2020? I think there'll be a strong push around Biden-Harris possibly will be the most like steady across the board. There'll be a lot of there are enough sort of real progressives now inside that are intending to run within the Democratic Party that I think it would make a secondary Bernie run say redundant in some ways. But those are the two that stand out right now. That I hear the most buzz about actually being an electable pairing would be Biden and Harris. So Biden being president, Harris being vice president, with the idea that she would run for president afterwards. I like Tulsi Gabbard. The United States has a branding thing with names, and you can almost tell to the person who's going to win sometimes just based on the forcefulness of their name. The only time it goes up in the air at all is when you have somebody like Obama, which Obama sounds cool anyways, even though it sounds foreign to a lot of Americans. The name itself sounded cool. That's why they try to tack Hussein onto it all the time. Make sure you said it, with Obama each time to try and lower the weight and the push for it. McCain had a very strong name. That's why they ran Mitt Romney. Tulsi Gabbard isn't going to necessarily, like, the name will be too soft for a bunch of people. It's true. Can't pronounce it. It's bad enough because people like simple names. Yeah, that's going to be a factor. Just get used to the idea. I'm not saying it's right. Even Ocasio-Cortez, once people settle into saying that, it has a euphonic, pleasant sound to it as a name. Whereas like Joaquin Castro, for example, it is an absolute absurdity, and this is not about his worth as a politician, but it's an absolute absurdity that you would think somebody with the last name Castro will be elected president in the United States. Honestly. And not because, white Democrats will have a problem with it. It's because Florida's a pivotal state. That's why. Hal Sparks is pretty good. Although I'd have to run using my second first name, Harry. I think you could, like, Harry Sparks actually, would be more presidential sounding, but we'll see. And they would call me Hal, just like, Teddy Roosevelt worked better than Theodore because Theodore actually sounds like more of a nickname than Teddy does, that kind of thing. That's also why she became AOC, much easier for everyone. That's exactly right. She's attractive, Tulsi, but I think she's a fake progressive. I don't believe the fake progressive narrative. If anybody is on board and they just have a difference of opinion with how to implement or whatever, there are no fake progressives. There aren't. There are Democrats who may not think that they can get stuff through and want to find a way to, that are playing long game, but because they're not willing to go to the mat and lose quickly are called fake progressives. Cheers, Charleston. You too. So it's not Beto. No. How can I be on your staff? Absolutely. Yes. Mike is making me diagnose her back pain issues again. Looks like another bladder. Oh, mercy. She just needs to learn the ropes. She'll get there. This is true. They'll weaponize identity politics against Tulsi Gabbard. People here are using it against her in this room. How do you mean? How do you use identity politics against Tulsi? Look, mono headphones. That's right, Tom. I took them off right away because I knew Julia would be policing me about it. Do I like sushi? Yes, I do. Hal fits well on buttons. That's right. I like Ike. Yeah, Hal's your pal. This is true. Yeah. Don't you think she hurt Hillary by jumping on the Bernie bandwagon at the convention? Whom? Tulsi? Or, AOC is cool and has moxie. It's true. Have you heard of lab rats? You kind of look like that one egotistical. Yeah, that is me, Extro. Love it, Hal's your pal. All right. If you want America to be an America for everybody. How's your pal? Right. I'll figure it out. It'll be something. Scrolling through your through chat stuff in here. And thanks for sticking with me. Have I ever heard of lab rats? No, I don't know what that is. Why do you think the special on the Clintons ran this week? Because they'd prepped it and had it because they thought it was going to be a bigger issue, and Trump keeps making them an issue. So there's a lot of hate viewing that people like around it. It will just be a hanging thing forever. I mean, one was president, the other was secretary of state, and one won the popular vote. There's going to be an audience no matter what. That's why they did a special about it. Have you had Hal, you have a phenomenal mind. Have you considered writing a book? If so, what would the theme be? I have a couple of books in the works, and it's one of the goals for this year that's part of my Project 50 is to finally finish one, which is where I'm going to, like, Ginger, you're going to get roped into being my book coach or something. Because on the one hand, I've had an idea for a book about my experiences doing Queer as Folk called Playing It Straight, that I've had for a while, where I go through the experiences of each episode and what it was like to shoot them. And I have another book that's like a handbook for people who have just gotten a television show for the first time in their life and are, or their YouTube channel is taken off or whatever. They're famous for whatever reason for the first time in their lives. It's like a Fame 101 book called You Can't Pick Your Nose on a Parade Float. Those are the two that I have in there. And then maybe a self-help book. I just want Johnny Million to have a high-level cabinet position. Yeah, he'll be the Surgeon General, and we'll know how the health of the country by his gastrointestinal distress. I also have a book for actors, like an actual acting book called Split the Difference. I think Bernie runs and eventually drops out in support of Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah, I don't think so. Linda Tripp is a disgusting creature. We never heard about her again. Oh, yeah. How about Zoltan? He's your man. That's right. Mayor Goldie Wilson. I like the sound of that. How do you think the GOP will what? Sorry, I missed that one. How do you think GOP will run against Trump? And yeah, there'll be a couple. Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to step down. Mason's built Washington, D.C., right? How about we get a few together and go down to Central America to build a few embassies, universities, and some shipping warehouses for Amazon and eBay? Well, there's actually a fairly decent history of, the root of democracy in South America and a lot of other places is, has a lot of Masonic base in it. It isn't just the architecture, and there's not a lot of, just corporate masonry for the sake of it. It's a different thing. I mean, you want to get together and go down there and build some schools and some public libraries, that's where you would find a lot of Masonic support. Amazon's on their own. Should Bernie get the nomination in 2020, which of the other contenders would be the VP pick? Oh. I don't know. Yeah, he's not going to. Honestly. How about Spark the Country? Absolutely. I mean, all those references will be great. Sparks flying because blah, blah, blah. Anytime I say something wrong, I misspeak. Sparks fly at contentious, press conference, right? I thought Warren's running. Doesn't that kind of kill the thought of Bernie running? That's exactly right. That's what I was talking about. There are Dems that make, that are, quite frankly, like Hillary, that are to the left of Bernie on guns, for example, and are right in line with his economic message. So, yeah, I don't see that. Bernie's not a Democrat. Would you go skydiving again? Yes, I would. Yeah, Bernie's not a Democrat. And you don't, if the smart move for any political party would be you don't get to run for office in our political party unless you've been a member of our political party for a decent amount of time and committed to it. It's silly. I mean, it's ultimately how the Republicans ended up with Trump. Spark shocks Russia with State of the Union address. Exactly. I'll spark change. That's totally true. All these work. They write themselves. My grandfather ran for Senate in Kentucky and lost before I was born. Well, you know, I think when my dad was young or whatever. And they have some bumper stickers left over. My dad has them all on his guitar cases. It just says, like, just the Sparks cut out on it. My dad just had a pile of those, and he cut out the name Sparks and Harry Sparks, because that's my dad, and my grandfather and I all share a name. I just have the Hal added onto it. Foresee more and more medical uses. Oh, for 3D printing? Absolutely. Can Sparks light a future? Sparks light a fire under the Democratic Party? Absolutely. Do you have ripped muscles? If yes, your muscles are. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm doing all right. It's been a pretty good time. Finally got a peak on my muscle right there. Finally actually getting an arc in there, you know, as opposed to simply, I don't know if you can see it. Instead of it just being, it used to be just I had like kind of long biceps or whatever, but no peak. So that's nice. That's a nice little shift. Chest's getting bigger. I think Bernie votes with Democrats more than some Democrats do, though. Well, no. Oh, the attack ads against you. Yeah, we have to look up what the hell is he thinking? You know, all that stuff. Popeye. I think a ton of people would read Playing It Straight for Real. Oh, well, cool. Thanks, Zelda. Yeah. Working the triceps is the key to getting the guns. This is true. But my triceps have always been big anyways. That's what the thing is. I never had bicep because my triceps, you know, so Hal is so vain. I'm incredibly vain. And vanity is a tool that I use to motivate myself. Vanity is highly underrated. Hal Sparks is the longest and most progressive town hall meeting in years. It's true. It's been going on for since Hump Days with Hal. Do I want to hear riddles? Sure. No Seattle security of a human being. No, let's come on to John Hurt movie. Okay. How often do you work out? 3 days a week. 2 words warning of Dems. Opposition research. Better be clean or forget it. Those biceps. Vainglorious. That's right. You think this campaign... Yeah. I do think this campaign is about me. I would if I was running. Yeah. Of course. Hold on. I don't want to import all of them. I can't. Yeah. The mail come through on there? No, it's just too much. My old mailbox has too much stuff on it. Look at all that mail. It's crazy. I tried to bring up the mailbox so I could see Can't Stop Lying if that was in there. And let's see. Yeah. There we go. There you go. Breaking news, Hal Sparks went to China. Is he really an American? Yeah, that's right. Hal Sparks 2050. That's worked. That's sad. I work out 4 days a week and I still look like crap. It's food. It's how you eat. That's a huge aspect of it. It's an incredibly important part of, you know. Hold on. All right. Oh. Really? Why are you sending it there? There we go. I think. There you go. Mm-hmm. Cool. There you go. What do you call a puppy with headphones? The answer is hush puppy. You've already told me that one. I heard that one already. What's your favorite meal? Do only Dems need to be clean? No, they don't have to be clean at all, actually. I don't think Dems have to be clean. I just think they have to be moral. And you can have some, you know, argument about what, you know, religiously you believe is a moral way to act. I don't use HIT. I do it occasionally with Summer because she goes. So I go with her every other week. That's why I'm gray and fat. Just don't care anymore. That's the spirit. Let's see. Yeah, favorite meal is tough. I mean, it always changes. We get these sushi burritos at this place, Soho Burrito, near like near the 215 in Vegas or whatever. We go there. Summer really likes the food from there, so I'll go with her. And they make bowls. They have sushi burritos, but they also have like a vegan steak burrito thing, and they have shrimp, and they have real chicken and fake chicken, and they have tofu, and like you can basically make these kind of things. So when I need carbohydrates added to my diet, that's what I usually have. So it's not hard to be more moral than the average Republican. Exactly. Is a sushi burrito just a huge sushi roll? Yes. I have a feeling Hal and Jordan Peterson have a different diet. No. Well, I mean, he only eats meat, right? I am currently an omnivore. Full disclosure, I'm not vegan currently. I eat everything. But largely because I'm doing one meal a day. And so I need more flexibility, and my meals, like I'm literally all my calories in a 24-hour period happen in about 90 minutes. So because I travel a lot, because I've been in China, because of other factors, I eat, a ton of different things currently. Be well, Hal Vickery. Thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate it. You look great, Hal. It's working. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate it. It's if you follow me on Instagram, you can see what I'm doing there. I'm trying to figure out a way, and this is maybe a good question for you guys, besides the changes that you've seen in HSRPM, where I'm trying to upgrade the show every week and add elements, adding audio each time, making sure we have graphs and all those kind of details, so that it's not just just an audio and kind of just camera show. There are other aspects like guitar work that I'm doing, language work that I'm doing, study that I'm doing, that I'm trying to, that are incorporated into the Project 50 stuff. That's just not as visual as the workout scheme, right? That I'm trying to convey to people so that, it motivates them as well. Like, this is my daily study regimen and those kind of things. If you're trying to live up to standards by people who continually move the goalposts, you're never going to win. We need to stop chasing that down. I agree. Might remind you, Seattle's Alexander Ocasio-Cortez did volunteer in the Bernie campaign, and it's part of why she's so effective is triggering the rethugs. I think it's simply that she started using the Democratic Socialist name. That's all it needed to be. She didn't have to say anything else. I think America owes it to Central America to do what it can to drive out the drug cartels that Oliver North propped up and create a space. Maybe then folks won't need to flee 2,000 miles for asylum. I completely agree. I mean, I think one of the areas where we've really let down South America is in how we distribute aid, and for example, which we've cut immensely under Trump, and that's one of the reasons why the people are coming up here is because because of the resources and the like. Working with Interpol, working with having the FBI and working with the law enforcement, the countrywide law enforcement of those countries to deal with drug trafficking, deal with murderers. Who flee across borders in those other countries, that it's very meaningful, and we can play a big part in that. Hal's constructing the anti-Trump show backed up with facts and information. Exactly. Still vegan after 3 years, also doing one meal a day at 200 pounds. But I know that traveling is difficult, especially China. Totally understand. Michael Pollan's The Omnivore's Dilemma is a good start for healthy eating. Do you like ginger ale? I do like ginger ale. Morris Hal's a good host. I try. Your podcast was wonderful. Definitely releasing more of those would be awesome. Yeah, I'm going to do another one today. If the Project 50 podcast. Podcast is better than Joe Rogan. Well, thanks. That's sweet. Make America indigenous again. Indigenous for who? I mean, I get where you're going with this, but what do you think about Trump cutting the funding for HIV research? What he cut was specifically the use of fetal tissue for disease research. One of the areas where the fetal tissue was used was HIV research. It was not specifically a cut in HIV research. It was a cut of using fetal research, using fetal tissue for research and fetal cells. I understand that. I understand where they came from a moral pushback on that. It's not the same thing as just straight up cutting HIV research. Do you have a job? Of course I have a job. I'm a touring comedian with 2 TV shows on the air. So I like the idea how doing in-studio interviews. I've done a bunch of interviews on Explore China that you guys will see when that show comes out. Do you know that 80% of the Republicans in the House are white males over 50? Yeah. And what's the other 20%? White males under 50? Plus 1 or whatever? Just so we could learn a tremendous amount from the tribal people and how they relate to the earth. In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. I mean, it depends on which tribe you're talking about. It is. I don't believe in infantilizing indigenous tribes and pretending that there was somehow sort of an ignorant innocence to them across the board. There was a lot of warring amongst Native American tribes, and a lot of it was very brutal. And a lot of the land that that settlers took from natives is land that they had taken from other natives. To oversimplify infantilizes them, and unfortunately, I think that's nearly as dangerous. It just makes them out. It's almost makes them to be like animals instead of humans with agency. Did you ever see a demo into CNN to replace Anthony Bourdain's? Did you ever send a demo into CNN? Oh, well, that they've been asking us, Kurt, about doing the show other places besides China, and I think that's probably what's going to happen. Yeah. So yeah, finally lost some weight by some of the nutritional stuff you talk about. That's great. Awesome. I find it incredibly important to, monitoring your diet, what you actually put into your body has, I think, a lot more effect on your overall health, even than, the amount of exercise and the type of exercise that you do. Hold on. There you go. Kurt. Let's see. Oh, I just saw your email, Kurt. So I'll read that after the show, and we'll chat. And then I'm looking up. There it is. There it is. Mac 80s and 90s game thing. Where is that? 360 driver. Controller. Oops. I'm going to take this out. There's a bunch of games in here. Emulator enhance the ColecoVision emulator. Look at that. Oh, that's exciting. Oh, can't stop lying. That's great. That's really sweet. Does it work? Is that what we're looking at? Let's see. Oh, the screen is tiny. Huh. Turn game off before inserting cartridge or expansion module. That's real. That's hilarious. This will be an afternoon, no doubt. Let's see. Commodore 64 emulator. Oh. Game manuals in here. There we go. I'd love to find. There's a game like. I gotta look it up. Classic Amiga games. Like there was a game on one of these, and it's gonna drive me crazy. It was like a. Oh, is that? Commodore Amiga. I'm gonna find this one because there was a game that I loved. It was kind of like Diablo. It was that style of game. I'm gonna find. I forget the name of it, but I even had a T-shirt. This is before you could find like gaming T-shirts or whatever. That had a like a the emblem of the company that made the game itself. I think it's not showing up on that list. I love ginger root and stir fry. That's good. I love that you're so down to earth and relatable. House Park, seriously, breath of fresh air. Well, thank you, Victoria. I try, you know. Would you ever go zip lining? Of course. I've done it a couple times. I'd be a good host for a classic video game show host. I don't know if that's a compliment. That sounds like something, like a line from Ghostbusters. You don't seem like a scientist. Yeah, they're usually pretty stiff. You seem more like a game show host. By the way, I have been a game show host. I hosted a game show when I was 17 years old, making me the youngest game show host on American television history. So thanks. There you go. It's true. Sound is out. How about your pets? Did you grow up with animals in your house? Yeah, we had 28 cats on my farm in Kentucky. I had a dog when I was really, really little. It bit the mailman's thumb off, and they put it down, so didn't have a dog after that. I would love to have another dog. Eventually, currently our cat situation, I doubt that they would be able to handle a dog in any way. I mean, they're crazy enough on their own. Native Americans had limited weaponry and tactics without horses and metal like the old Egyptians before. Yeah, but they got weapons from the French. Insofar as I know, the tradition of scalping actually was a French tradition, and came up because of the French and Indian War as a way of hiding who had killed who, making people think the French had did it, and then, of course, selling the scalps to the French because they would collect them. There you go. Astro Smash was my favorite game. My boys played it recently. I had cheats to it. I had modern gaming for that. I should be a good host for that. Yeah. Dog went my mailman's thumb off. Yeah, it's pretty country. That was in Virginia when I was like 4, maybe even younger. I have, you ever go back over your childhood memories and think about when they really were? Because I have ideas about stuff that I thought, I'm like, oh, I was probably 7, 8, 9 years old. And then I found out, no, that actually happened when I was 2, and I still remember it. And I had a very distinct opinion about it. And I wonder if that distinct opinion was formed at the time when I was 2, or if I was remembering it when I was 5, 6, 7 years old and sending it, kind of that thought back, and like still germinating on that thing that happened when I was 2. What kind of dog was it that bit? He was like a, I don't know, he was kind of muddy, but he was like a big beagle. He was just like a hound, a small hound dog. But he was he was my dog specifically, more so than anybody in the family. And I was playing in the front yard, and the dog was sitting next to me. And the mailman, who always walked up our driveway, or up our sidewalk, put the mail in the thing, and then just walked off, decided to walk over and pat me on the head. And the dog decided it was not having that nobody touches me, and it bit his hand, and he lost his thumb. So And I don't, thinking back, I don't know that he was wrong. For all we know, and I don't, this guy's probably long dead, but he could have been a pervy monster, and the kid did exactly that. I have an older sister. It is ironic, but most of my memories before I was 5 are of my dog Rover. I don't know. Technically, that's not irony. That'd just be surprising. Maybe. There's nothing ironic. Yeah, I agree. He was protecting me, Kurt. I had this one situation. I was babysitting this kid, and we were walking through a mall, and for whatever reason, this dude just decided to pat this little kid on the head, just like, yeah, like almost like, hey, little kid, or whatever. But the way he did it, he looked at me when he did it, when I was walking with him, and I was like, F this dude. It was something real. I got a really bad vibe off of it, and still to this day, I find it gross. I'm right-handed, but I'm largely ambidextrous. And the dog sensed the creeper vibes for sure. I think so. I remember being in Grand Canyon very vaguely at a very young age because my parents moved around a lot. I have a better idea of the years of my memories. Yeah, a bunch of those things, because a lot of it fused together, and a lot of my childhood was in the woods, quite frankly. I mean that genuinely, in the woods. Like little kid running around the woods in the sticks. No, I don't have bad memories about my childhood. I have a lot of great childhood memories. It was tough, but it was worthwhile. I always say kids and animals are the best barometers of creeps. Yeah. Hal was boy from Bird Box. I have not watched Bird Box yet, and it looks like, to me, it just looks like the blind version of A Quiet Place. Like, and am I wrong? But, okay, first of all, when I saw the Bird Box thing and they're walking around blindfolded, because if you look at the monster or whatever, you'll die. The two things came to me. First, the ravenous bug bladder beast of Trawl, which I think we talked about last week, which is a creature so stupid, it thinks that if you can't see it, it can't see you. And therefore, the only thing to do when you encounter this amazingly stupid animal that can kill you is to tie a towel around your head. And that blinds it. And which immediately made me laugh when I started seeing the clips from that. And secondly, that in and of itself was ridiculous. I know the answer, but what came first, the wheel or the wall? Walls. And the wheel isn't even a big deal. Okay, so that was a big thing too. That was a bunch of, Trump said this. Hold on. This is his. Hold on. Stop that one. And resume.
They say it's medieval.
This one, the wheels and the walls.
So is the wheel medieval. I looked at all the vans and all of the serious equipment that they surrounded me with yesterday. This is the police, the Border Patrol, ICE. Every one of those had the wheel. Well, they say wheels are medieval too, but some things don't change. Wheels and walls.
Okay, nobody says wheels are medieval. Oh my God. Nobody says that. Like, who walks out to their car and goes, kind of. And walls aren't medieval. It's like if you use a wall as a barrier, it's considered medieval because of castles and moats, and that's where that comes from. Secondly, okay, when it comes to wheels, he's like, later on in that quote, he says that nobody's really found a way to improve on it. Okay, first of all, they have improved on walls as things because cities that were under siege by walls, they could be starved out over time. So they had to come up with other stuff. That's why, by the way, we have minefields. That's why cities are built, that's why islands were colonized, by a lot of places. So they would have a strategic point, where they, the water acts as a natural barrier. Why, people go up on, why forts are on mountaintops because oh God. So, and then the wheel aspect. So we've improved immensely on wheels. First of all, he's like, nobody's really found a way to improve on the wheel. Okay. Airplanes, helicopters, rockets, and not to mention, like tread and sleds for dealing with snow and ice and sand. I mean, it's just goofy. Like, the whole thing is just goofy.
Without protection.
So, yeah. Wheels and walls. Everything is peachy dory.
Well, the news incorrectly reported, because I said, well, if we go back and everything's peachy dory and you say...
Everything was peachy dory. Oh, my God. Wheels used to be... And the wheel wasn't a big deal. Okay. Round stones and rolling something or having a wheel by itself is useless. You need an axle. The wheel was nothing until you joined two of them or were able to put something through it that could hold a structure on top of it. How did you know ginger ale is better for you than Coke? Ginger ale helps upset stomachs. That's adorable, Carrie-Ann. It is, real ginger ale is definitely better than Coke, but soda in general is not good. Let's just settle that right away. One of the best things you can do is stop drinking soda for the rest of your life. Don't drink sugary drinks as best you can. Avoid really dense juices as well. If you're going to have juice, have it be freshly squeezed. Drink a lot more water and tea. And avoid soda at every turn. There were no prehistoric unicycles. You know what? There probably were. Touche, Billy. Hi, mobile gods. What's happening? Soda bad, well good. Actually, Trump drinks Diet Coke and apparently snorts Adderall. Two behaviors I do not recommend in any form. What about SodaStream? Still not a fan. I mean, you can make it less sweet and add less sugar, but still. Carbonated water's not bad. Mineral water's better. Obviously, because I fast as long as I do, having mineral water is better for me because it makes sure I have the minerals that I need. Yeah. Just water, black tea, and herbal tea for me. That's a good general rule. I've stopped drinking soda, my New Year's resolution. Nice. Thanks for inspiring me. Absolutely, Victoria. Yeah, just one of the biggest things that helped me out, I swear to God, you guys know I've been doing a bunch of stuff lately, but cutting sugar by 60%, which means just skip 2 out of 3 of the desserts you are presented with. That and sweet stuff you're presented with. So if you normally drink, 3 sugary drinks a day, drink 2 of them, or drink 1 of them. Eliminate 2 of them. That in and of itself will have an immense, like a terrific physiological response. You will see a better situation in your body. Let's see. I think we're getting hit by bots pulling them in timeout. Have you? Okay. I haven't seen any of the bots, but I trust you. Seeing the word ginger a lot in the chat today, I feel like a dog who keeps hearing someone going past the front door. What's that for me? Squirrel! Right. Picard's favorite tea, Earl Grey. That's right. One thing about cutting down on sugar, suddenly everything else tastes sweeter. That's true, because your tongue gets a break. H2 is the only thing that quenches your thirst. Yes, but it does, having a little bit of electrolytes or salt or mineral in it actually helps you absorb that a lot better. So if you drank straight up H2O with nothing else in it, you could still be thirsty over time. You'll just have a full feeling. What about regular coffee? Regular coffee's fine. I'm drinking iced coffee right now. That's what I've been drinking all morning. I mean, I sip it, so. Cat or Kit Kat. That's cute. Sugar is my only real addiction. That and the internet. Well, Sugar won't mess with your insulin response, and the internet can go down sometimes on its own without stopping you. So if you can do anything, just cut the sugar. Just start cultivating your savory taste buds. Add a little more salt to your diet. If you feel like eating something sweet, take a little bit of table salt, dip your finger in it and lick it. It'll, yeah, these masonry jars with a handle is terrible. Like that cup, normally I use the other ones. This one was clean. I don't like those either. It's not an I don't see it as an upgrade. I see it as a barnacle. Too many questions for me on repeat drives you crazy. I understand. Green tea, white tea, red tea, pu'er, all will do your body good. This is true. How the 2018 Starbucks Holiday Blend makes amazing cold brew. I just made another batch last night. Oh, that's good to know. Thanks. No, Julie does not wield the sword in vain. She's our lady in the lake. Can it be done? Of course. People are addicted to alcohol because of the alcohol. Yeah. I mean, there's a multi factors in that. A lot of people are, a lot of times people get addicted to alcohol because of the release and relaxing and elimination of responsibility, which is the hard part of adulting. I was referencing Idiocracy again. Upgrade. Oh, I see. Gotcha. And trying to cut back on sugar, powdered coffee creamer, neither great. Yeah. I mean, again, start cultivating, your, a lot of people, black coffee is really tough for them. So start doing a really light black tea, iced tea. That can help you cultivate your bitter senses in your taste buds and get you more used to it so that other stuff that's bitter doesn't taste as bitter. I grew up on black tea, plain black tea. My mom, even though I grew up in the South, my mom drank plain iced tea, and my grandmother used to make iced tea, just like Lipton powdered tea. But she had mint growing outside her door, so she would pull a couple of mint sprigs off and throw them in, and that was how we drank tea when I was a kid. And I drank it when I was little. And my son does the same thing. It's so interesting. He drinks it with a teaspoon, just like sipping it. And if you sip black tea, the air and the oxygenation of it or whatever gives it it gets slightly sweet and then slightly bitter, if it's decent tea. So give that a try. Try, if you can't deal with, coffee without adding stuff, start moving towards green and black tea. Plain. Yes. Thank you. Plain, Zelda. I haven't tried them yet because I like hot coffee. Never drank hard alcohol. Never acquired a taste for it. Whiskey, bourbon, vodka, ugh. Yeah, I don't drink at all. That helps too. You've worked out for 11 straight days. Wow. That's awesome. Watch that it doesn't make you hungry, though, because that's the thing. How would you be interested in releasing a meal plan? What has been successful for you in terms of what you would eat and put in your diet? You can do a YouTube video in the kitchen. Yeah, I'll do some stuff about cooking and some putting. Actually, high fructose corn syrup is what's killing Americans. Pure cane sugar is much more digestible and less harmful to our kidneys. Sorbate is also a great sweetener. Yeah, but the idea, Kurt, is that sweetener, no matter what you're doing, is a caloric trick you play on your system. Because even if you're drinking something with cane sugar in it, your body's expecting more calories from it than, no matter how caloric the drink is, because it's got sugar in it. Your body's expecting more caloric intake, so it starts storing it as if you're getting a big winter meal drop. So avoiding, cultivating your sweet tooth at all, if you have one at all, instead of replacing it, just eliminating it is always a healthier move, is my point. Let's see, drinking exotic alcohol in the previous statement. Green tea seems more harsh on my guts than black. Yeah, well, it depends on what kind of green tea. There's a lot of them out there. I'm a big fan of yerba mate. If caffeine doesn't have too bad of an effect on you, and you need, sort of a coffee equivalent, yerba mate, which I will type into the thing because sometimes it's hard for people to understand the spelling of it. Yerba mate, right there, is a tea I recommend. I'm doing workouts every other day pretty consistently. I started with brands like bands like Frankenhouse suggested. Now Britt does it with me, so it helps the motivation. That's great. Can you make tea out of pot? I'm sure someone has. I drank Kool-Aid as a kid. WWS didn't do it. Yeah, no. I use an exercise app to keep track of my diet and exercise each day. The only app I'm using currently for my stuff is the 01 for my fasting because it times out my fasting. Water's always good. But again, water with maybe some electrolytes added to it because it's what plants crave is good. What's up, Jacksons? We only need 3 more. Watch out. You work out while watching Rock's Titan show? Hard to bitch about it when you're watching people do crazy physical stuff. This is true. Chew the sugar cane, not really eat it. Okay. Mint tea is nice. Yeah, mint tea dries out my singing voice, so I can't do that. Do I drink energy drinks? Very rarely. I have one that's like a workout drink, but it doesn't actually technically have... No, it's not an energy drink because it doesn't have caffeine in it. It's got BCAAs, like branched chain amino acids, and CoQ10, and creatine, and chromium, and glutamine, that kind of stuff. I'm going to try out for the Titan show. Good, do that. That's great. Hal, am I the one who is hypersensitive to caffeine? It does cause my anxiety, but it mimics it. I lack the enzyme that breaks. Any suggestions for the morning wake up? Yeah, I would say I have to honestly say that since I've been doing 1 meal a day or an intermittent fasting, my energy level, I require less coffee. Like I used to pound, if you guys remember, I used to drink a whole thing of this. Now I just sip it. It's almost out of habit. Something non-caloric to sip on while I'm doing the show for my throat or whatever, just to have something, and a lot of times it's water with a little bit, a splash of apple cider vinegar in it that I'll do. But fasting ultimately, and cutting out carb, lowering your carb intake, I think helps with consistent energy and getting up, simply because a lot of people, when you eat carbs, you crave carbs. When you eat sugar, you crave sugar. And so that's what your blood sugar ebb and flow is, and that's why people need to pick me up in the morning. Do you like to sing? Of course I like to sing. Sorry, but busy today, so trying again. How was the Amiga game Final Odyssey Thieves vs. the Minotaur? No, it was not. Can't Stop Lying. It was. It's a one-name game. Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy. All right, we gotta find it. Let's see. I'll scroll through it. It's basically it had a big green owl on the cover. That's what I very distinctly remember. I'm gonna find out this didn't actually happen. It was just a UFO abduction. By the way, I'm doing a show called Famous and Afraid, where I will be talking about my family's history with UFOs. That should be fairly interesting. I'll let you guys know when it's coming out. I'm shooting it in a couple weeks. I don't know if they're going to do like reenactments or anything, She's not a bot, Julie. She's a little kid. Thanks. Yeah, Can't Stop Lying. I can tell. You and I are probably looking at the exact same websites right now. Yeah. There were so many cool games on that system. And just so, like, period cool. Like, it wasn't Dungeon Master. Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker. There's so many games on this. It's hilarious. Space Crusade. Team Yankee. Road Rash. Lure of the Temptress. Look out. Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine. Where is it? I'm just going to scroll. I'll have to find it. It's going to drive me crazy. Could have been Ultima. That's possible. Mm. No, it was a third person adventure game that looked almost exactly like uh, um, Diablo. Yeah. Uh, yeah, Bungie. Let's see if. Let's see if I can find. Okay, I think it was on. I want to say it was a Bungie game, but I may be mistaken. No, they did the Wolfenstein. Yeah. Damn it. No, it's gonna drive me crazy. Marathon. Marathon was fun. I remember playing that one. It was like basically that. Marathon was the initial version of um, Halo, essentially. Please do not feed the bots. How old is this game? I'm thinking 92, 93. She said she was 13. Another, yeah. She might have said she was 12 and she turned 13 and she did it. Whatever. How about Naked and Afraid? Yeah. I don't know that they still do that show because I think they had a bunch of people like stepping on stuff and getting infected. And I don't think they do what you call it? I don't think they do a celebrity version, do they? I don't know. I doubt they've done a celebrity Naked and Afraid. Unless somebody's done like one of those fake video versions. Oh, yeah. SNL did a version of Naked and Afraid Celebrity Edition as a joke with Peter Dinklage and Leslie Jones. Right. But yeah, I don't know that. Although there's a what is it? I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Is one of those shows, and yeah. But I don't know that I don't have a problem with any of those things. Like like I don't know what the whole thing. Yeah, they just set them out in the Australian jungle and let them fend for themselves. Like I don't know. To me, it just seems like too easy. But maybe it's an Australian thing. Maybe that's the kind of people the Australians are. They want you to think they're tough and then they fall apart. Would you Celebrity Big Brother? I don't know. I mean, I think I should sign up for Masked Singer. That's not a bad idea. I would do that. I'm in Germany. Speaking of eating, I am doing low carbs today. I had 2 turkey burgers on homemade almond bread with lettuce, tomato, and mayo. Delicious. There you go. Watched US TV in over 4 years. Dead tell you, Stone Cold. Huh? Do I have a favorite video game of all time? They have those Arcade One games. Hold on. I think it's called Arcade Up or Arcade One. Let me see if I can find this in it. Like they just came out with them and they're like in stores and yeah, and you get these little like toy things and they're like $300 and they're either multi games or a single game, whatever. They were at CES and they have they're going to have a wall version coming out. Let's see. Products. No, that's the old one. That's not it. What is this? Arcade Up, is it? Yeah, Arcade 1 Up. That's what it was. They have a version that will hang on the walls starting next year. So let's see. Cabinets, and these are full size. Let's see. Game titles, where to buy. Yeah. They have a pretty crappy website, which they should, since it's based on like 80s tech. So they have these little tiny game, you know, like they like shrunk down versions of game systems, you know. Here, I'll show you these things. Like these little mini versions or whatever. They're gonna have a version that hangs on a wall, like they have the table version, and then they put this. You can get the little game, and then they get this little like spacer thing underneath it. But there's a version that's basically just the front and the buttons that will hang on a wall, and all of it goes in there like a. And I was like, for like an '80s kid like myself, like this is that's like having a working piece of art on the wall. You know what I mean? Can you imagine having a Defender hanging on your wall, or Quicks or those games? And so I was thinking, oddly enough, that Defender was one of the first games that really like scared the crap out of me, because it had, when you played it, it had a real, like when they would pick up the people and then it would abduct them and hit the top of the roof, and then they would transmute into these alien ships with a person inside them, and they would just chase you. They seemed to have personality. It was so easy to anthropomorphize those that they were really scary. Yeah, let me. Yeah, arcade1up.com. That's right. Zero water filter cooler that is the only thing that makes chromium out of water. 23 cup size, worked out great. You store it in the fridge. That's cool. I just bought the NES Classic. Those are cool, yeah. Do the German TV shows block out Naked and Afraid? I don't think so. They have a lot of nudity on regular German television. Who's a Republican but hates Trump and likes his policies? Because there's a bunch of those people. Isabella is sort of like a Rule 34. Instead, if it exists, there's a celebrity version of it, right? Yeah, so, I mean, Joust is one of the games that I would say is one of my all-time favorite games of all time. Joust, Galaga. Obviously, I bought a Sinistar, so that's pretty special. Yeah. Yeah. Asteroids, I always thought, you know, like as far as vector-based games go, Asteroids had this kind of simplistic beauty to it, because when the rocks broke apart, even though they were just, you know, two-dimensional, even, you know, line drawings, they looked so great. All of them, hell yeah. Yeah. Joust, you know, the Upright Tron game. Did you ever have a Sega Genesis? I did not. I had already moved into kind of the Mac and Amiga gaming world before, you know, that stuff sort of during that window. If you love Trump's policies, you're a piece of it. Right? All right. I'm with you there. I know I'll materially wealthy the day I can buy a Journey stand-up arcade game. Oh, yeah. Robotron is awesome. Oh, my God. With being able to shoot with one stick and move with the other, and like save the people, and Like, I mean, and it's just overwhelming when they start coming at you. How do you think Trump will make it to the end of 2019? I think there's a very strong chance he'll step down. Yeah. It's a good success marker, Ginger. I mean, obviously, it feels really good when you get a upright Sinistar, you know. Let's see. Dreamcade, what's a multi? It's a, it's a, that's a rare one. That's $5,000. Uh, yeah. Let's see if they have. That's nice. Sun video games. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of tabletops and knockoffs. You can get a knockoff one fairly easy. Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole looking for those. We're doing a live I Love the 80s, 90s episode now. Yeah, it's fairly close. You had a joystick to move your character with one hand and use the disc. You rotated where you could throw his disc. Battleground Europe World War II online. Oh, cool. I will. I used to play Super Mario Brothers a lot. You're naming all the games I used to blow my paychecks on when I worked at Burger King in high school. Yeah. Okay, so a huge Amiga company was called Psygnosis. And its logo was... Yes! Hold on. We might be onto this. Yes. And, okay. The games. Oh, let's get back here. Because I had a T-shirt with Psygnosis, with the Psygnosis logo on it. Let's see. Now I'm just scrolling through all these games to see if they're in here. Let's see. It wasn't Billy's Tomato Game, that's for sure. Captain Fizz meets the Blastertrons. I don't know why that didn't take off. Oh, now I've got to scroll through all their games and trying to figure out. Oh, they did Lemmings. That's right. So strange. Prime Mover, Pro, Pugsy, Pyrotechnica. Where could it be? It's going to drive me crazy. It's going to make me go to my storage thing and get out my Commodore and find it, isn't it? And then that's how this is all going to shake down. But yeah, Psygnosis, that's the main one with the owl looking straight ahead. That's the shirt I had. Good eye. We will find it. Yes. It's like a person like, let's see. Good old game. Some of them look like hieroglyphics in terms of graphics. Yeah, well, that's, you know. When I first watched in 2002, I never even thought I'd be able to talk to him in person. Oh. We're talking about me? Wait. I've been listening to nothing but I love this all week. Let's see. Never managed to rescue the princess. That's always the tough part. The 96 when he does Carl meets Forrest. Oh, right. I forgot about that. Yeah. I'd have to do it on this one, I think. No, maybe not. Hmm? Yeah, it's hard to find. Yeah, Psygnosis. What the? Yeah, now I've got to... Hmm. Hmm. Mm-hmm. See if I can find it. Honestly, let's see. Hmm. Let's see. Shining Forces series, that's not it. Let's see. Shadow? No, that's not it. Ultima. Ultima was cool. Son of a... Baldur's Gate. Arcanum? That looks familiar. Oh, this is tough, man. Finding these, yeah. Yeah. 145 of you guys watching me look up video games, just scrolling through trying to find these things. Any luck at the job interview, Hal? How long have you been doing radio? How long have I been doing radio? It's 10 years? More? I started doing Wednesdays on Stephanie Miller's show. And like, gosh, when was that? 2000. Yeah. 2007, 2006, somewhere around there. So yeah, and then my own radio show started just like, I mean, it seems like, I don't know, yeah. Like it's all kind of blurring. Yeah, Air America. I did even before then, because I did American Afternoons for a little while after, like when they had a gap in programming. When Al Franken was on for a while, and then he decided to run for office. I filled in then. That's how I met Rachel Maddow, because she was actually doing the show then too. Let me play Donald Davenport and Lab Rats. Well, thank you. Love Baldur's Gate. Yep. It could be Obidus, except Obidus is a side view and back view one. It's one of those Diablo style aerial games where you're watching your character from a distance. It's gonna drive me crazy. Like I feel like I'm torturing Can't Stop Lying with this. Who's a comedian that has inspired you in your career? How old were you when you realized you wanted to get in the entertainment industry? Obviously, Carlin and Steve Martin had a huge impact. I knew I wanted to be funny when I was 10. I didn't know it could be a job till I moved to Chicago when I was 14. Yeah. Hal and Steph introduction, learned about QAF, important moment for streaming. Oh, good. I just remember you on E. Yeah, well, that was my kickoff for a lot of people. I can't believe you read my comment. I did. Working. Yeah. So many good hosts on Air America. Too bad it didn't work out. It's not that it didn't work out. It got subverted. In the same way that a lot of progressive radio in the States does as well. You have people, you have Bain Capital buying up stations and changing the programming to conservative, even though they lose money on the deal. Yeah, 3/4 top-down dungeon game. That's right. Air America was ahead of its time. If somebody has to figure out how to resemble the crew, that would be nice. Reassemble the crew. Yeah. Were you introduced to masonry in Scotland, Hal? I wasn't, although there was probably some sort of emotional reason, like kind of historical reason, being part Scottish, that when I was over in Edinburgh doing the Edinburgh Comedy Festival, I went to the Rosslyn Chapel, which if you watch read the Da Vinci Code or watch the movie, is one of the places they go to where the Mary is supposedly laid to rest and all that kind of stuff. And that church is ancient and has a lot of Masonic symbols built into it. So it was probably planted the seed in some way. Life is pretty good. I like Talk Soup. Many good comedians came from there. It's true. What's happening to WCPT? You get more airtime on CPT? Lost its FM signal. I think they sold the transmitter because most people listen on AM anyways. They never really use the FM transmitter. Like it's just not how they got the reach. Most people listen to talk radio, FM, or via the internet through iHeart or through Sirius satellite radio. I personally think like there should be a CPT should talk about like licensing one of the channels on Sirius XM as well, because it's the main source of how most progressives get on the air anyways. Do you remember the voice, as you said, El Nino in on what I Love the 90s cracked me up? I don't remember that, but I'm glad. Only the AM broadcast left, off at 6. Yeah. CPT AM bit signal lousy in Aurora. Yeah, the FM signal was never good. It's just the nature of their transmitter. And they dropped our locals. I think it's expensive for them, so any upcoming movie roles? I'm directing a feature this year, but that's after I finish the other projects I'm doing right now. So what do you think of Sam Cedar? Do you ever listen to Majority Report? I like Sam. I think they bark up the wrong tree sometimes. And I think their need for clicks as their system makes them do a lot of so-and-so destroys so-and-so kind of labels on their videos, which I find chintzy and silly. But Sam's a smart guy, and I like him a lot. I can't stand the Young Turks, though. I used to like them. I can't do it anymore. CPT dies for us at sunset. Can't hear Norman Goldman. Well, he's on, I think he's on iHeart, so if you get the app, you can listen to him there. I just saw this morning. Okay, I have a project for you, Hal. We'll talk about it soon, but I have a movie idea that is dogging me. I'll be the first to complete a project 2019. I want you to read it. Okay, deal. Was it awesome when you were in the Spider-Man movie? Yes, because Sam Raimi was the director, and he's one of my favorite directors of all time, and Tobey Maguire was really cool. He was very nice. And it's funny because after that, I kept seeing Toby and his family at the Heal the Bay, like ocean cleanup charity things, and it was nice to see him there consistently. What's Liz Winstead up to these days? Mostly tweeting. I don't live in New York, so I don't see a lot of those folks. Never watched the Da Vinci Code. I did decide to break up my fantasy sci-fi genres for reading for fun. Started on the detective series. Turns out the detective has a lot of supernatural cases. I think, and if you like that, you'll like Da Vinci Code. It's pretty easy reading. I have a multi-billion-dollar Avengers movie idea. That's funny. Took Ben off. Let's see. Sam does great interviews with authors and journalists, very in depth. Yeah, I agree. Always liked Sam. Let's see. Must be funny watching them freezing there. Sorry, I was being ridiculous. Huh? Chick started snowing. What about Mike Malloy? When I listen to him, I feel like I'm lancing a wound. He nails it as far as providing a release for 45. I love Mike Malloy. He's a crazy man, but I enjoy him quite thoroughly. I've met him a few times. He goes farther than I'm comfortable going on a lot of things, on a lot of fronts. But overall, I think he's a good man. Yeah. I just, I think the Young Turks thing, what bothered me was when I ran into them at Politicon both times, and it was just weird, And like I said, as soon as Anna found out I was supporting Hillary I was going to vote for Hillary and not Bernie or whatever, suddenly it wasn't that I disagreed with her, I was evil. It was super weird. Camden is awesome. Here, hold on. You want to listen to him do a math problem? It's pretty spectacular. This was, so they do this thing at his school where they track your progress on stuff, and they always send pictures from school, and it's a nice thing, a nice feature that they have. And so he and one of the other kids in his school did this thing. I won't play all of it, but this is Camden and London. Hold on. I'll skip past where London says his name. So we do 42 minus 8. Check this out. So, we are going to talk. This makes me so happy. Do this strategy and how we're going to solve it. So, if we have, let's start with the ones place. So, I'm going to put a box here for in case we need it. So, since we don't have, since it's a subtraction problem, we're taking away 8, but we only have 2. We don't have enough to take away. So, we take away one of the ones, and then we put a 3. And then we put, now we have 12, because we put a 1 there. So, 8. So the answer for 12 minus 8 is 4. So, if 3 minus nothing is 34. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we are done with our subtracting problem. See back? Oh, he broke it down. He was drawing it. He does it on the chart and describes where the drawing is, and you can watch him actually do it by hand. It was, oh my gosh, it was so adorable. Yeah, he's a smart kid. We love him. He's amazing. I'll burst. Yeah. So yeah, that, like, I'm getting all rosy cheeked. It's so sweet. So that was pretty awesome. He's got I'll be doing the show from, Camden. Camden will be with me next week when I do the show. And it's a holiday weekend, so he and I are gonna have some fun. And yeah, so he'll make a visit or say hi in the post show. The reference to Tobey Maguire in court. Of course, he's amazing. He's got the greatest dad in the world. Aww. Camden knows more math than most people I bump into. It's true. But, again, a lot of it has to do with language and how you're expected to speak and behave. And if you can just kind of manage those things, a lot of the other stuff sort of falls into place, because, it's like posture and health. If you can't have good posture and eat poorly and not exercise. They kind of all hang on that. If you can improve your posture, everything else will happen as well. So, yeah. Cam always like, was it amnios? Amnios? What do you mean? Let's see. See if you can find children's books about astronomy, especially the ones with black holes. They should fascinate as real-life cosmic monsters. Oh, okay, yeah. What's the best way to meet you before and after show? Well, after shows, I do meet and greets, always. So you can always come up and say hi. So that's, yeah. Someone needs to update his tour dates. This is true. Because when I have new shows coming, I just booked a new show. This just happened yesterday. We're putting this here, so let's see where that guy is. Hold on. It will be in Iowa, because I'm going to announce my presidential run there. What? Or reveal. What? I can't go to that. I always get invited to fancy schmancy things. Yeah, Dubuque, Iowa, February 13th. And then the 15th and 16th, I'm at Penguins Comedy Club in Des Moines. Yeah. And then Arlington Draft House in Virginia, March 1st and 2nd, which will be awesome simply because hopefully the government will be reopened by then. And then I'm in Canada in Halifax, Nova Scotia, April 25th, 6th, and 7th. Those are the only dates I have right now because of the other filming that I'm doing. So, was it fun working with Tyrell earlier? Yeah, absolutely. TJ is an awesome human being. He's good people. I'm watching him stay for 2 hours after to meet everyone who came to see him. Yes. And I've done that at other like show autograph signings and had other cast members hate me. Does Hal ever come to Georgia? I have. I've done Atlanta a few times. Mainly like in the last few years, I've done a lot of charity events for that. Many shows at Arlington Cinema Draft House and other comic cons. Comedians stay around after the show. They sell merch, sign stuff, take pictures. Yeah, so I do that. Spark the Nation tour. Yeah. I do not charge for meet and greets. No. How come you don't appear on Stephanie Miller's show anymore? Because I have my own show, and it's nearly impossible to be on, Wednesdays. It was getting increasingly hard, plus reasons. I'm going to go to one of the Arlington shows. I must. Who's your favorite character in Lab Rats? Donald Davenport. What are you, crazy? Mine? Absolutely go to the first show you can. Yes, this is true. Hal goes down to Georgia looking for souls to steal. This is not true because I've never been in a bind way behind and willing to make a deal. Burn, burn, burn. It's pretty great. It's a good time. Oh, I see. Amnios. Oh, I see. The game. I see. It's funny and always is kind of. Oh, thanks. I met him twice. Let me kiss his cheek. Yeah, people sneak up on me and do that sometimes. It happens. Where in the world? So, let's see. Okay. Of course, how many years ago, I was tweeting Tony Gonzalez. Okay. Well, that's nice. Somebody actually reached out to get unblocked on Twitter. That's actually that's reasonable. I can see that. Um, is anybody, by the way, on Facebook anymore? Are you guys like, you know what I mean? Like, is there a, because I barely use it. Let's see. There you go. All right, we'll give him a second chance. I'm okay with that. I'm on Facebook. I have an official author page over there. Yeah, I that's the only thing is I use my official one, but I don't actually, yeah. Yeah, and sorry I misspoke. The 67 votes for veto-proof majority. I still believe the votes are there, is my point. Was it one of the twins I blocked on here? No, it was not. It's some dude apparently I blocked ages ago. So, probably for being a big jerk, which is fine. Yeah. Yeah, there's not going to be a president. Julian Castro has just announced that he's going to run for president. There's not going to be a President Castro of the United States anytime soon. Sorry, it won't happen. Doesn't matter if he deserves it or not. I'm telling you. It, like, literally, there's not enough people who have passed away who were alive during the Castro years that will, like, they're just going to, like, there's millions of old people like, oh, we've got another Trojan horse, another Castro trying to sneak in. We let the Obama guy get past us. We're not going to get by this time. I use it Facebook only to stay in touch with family and friends. Simmer. On Facebook, I've never been is to get pics of my grandchildren. I do not post or share anything. Yeah, it's that kind of thing for me too. Like, it's almost like, all right, I'll still maintain it, but it's not something I actively would go on. I certainly wouldn't put stuff, on there that I would miss. Do you offer name tags so we can know each other at shows? No, but you get, if you're a regular, you can get your blue patch, and if you let me know ahead of time you're going to be there, your blue patch gets you a free ticket for whoever you bring. So, if you have a blue patch, you can bring a friend for free to any of my shows. Takes a little bit of coordination, and most clubs are cool with it. If they aren't, I'll let you guys know if they're being jerks about it. But most of the time, it works. You just got to let me know. Yep. And you ask for them by go to the my website and ask for it on my in the contact section. You never did get your blue patch? We mailed it like 3 times, Julie. We'll get you another one. Make sure I have your right address. Email me there if you could, please. Because I know we sent it out. Our band page is on Facebook, and we schedule things on there. Yeah, I mean, Facebook died like Marcus and Labrador. Under a pile of garbage. Serious off-topic industry perspective. Do you think if we hadn't been as accepting of Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Woody Allen proclivities, R. Kelly would have not gotten by? No. I don't think anybody thought of what R. Kelly was doing at, like, well, give him a pass. Like, I don't think that works. I mean, I think there's some truth to the fact that a lot of people believe that it was because these were African American girls, not white girls or Hispanic girls or Asian girls that he was doing this to. That was a big part of it. The other thing is that there was always the element of people give celebrities a wide berth when it comes to people who are like either wanting to be famous too, so they hang around with them and what goes on and what behavior's okay, and and right about the time the stuff about the underage girls came out about R. Kelly, most of the women that were in the news currently about what was going on with him were of age and older. Like one of the people who was in the R. Kelly special, she's 33 years old. And I think people started to write off that maybe, it was, you watch people talk about how they think it was, it was just, they're trying to take him down and blah, blah, blah. No, I think it was I think those things happen on a case-to-case basis. And, I think, sort of the Me Too era has renewed interest in the fact that a lot of people were like, well, how did he get away with this stuff for so long? I don't think it was cultural. I think it was individual. Actually been deleting my posts of the years. Nice to say goodbye to old memories. Weird that it was easy to be someone you were not. Oh, thanks, Victoria. I appreciate it. I will attempt to continue to be me. It's an APO address. Okay. I'm going to be like, hi, I'm Zelda Chick. And I'll be like, oh, dear. No, a lot of people do that. They'll come up and tell me what they're marketing. When I met Achf and Can't Stop Lying and for the first time, it was totally awesome. It's a nice surprise when they're like, hey, I'm, and King David Lane. I mean, he was wearing a crown, so that was easy to spot, but he has a lot of apologists in the black community. I mean, I think there are a lot of communities that apologize for those within them. So I don't know that it's special to the black community and R. Kelly, because you think of like all the communities that protect like rapist football players, for example, in their communities. That people rally around their own anyways. It's a human trait. Didn't he get jail time for peeing on a girl back in the... No, he did not. He got accused of... the charge was for child pornography, for owning the video and disseminating the video. But they apparently paid off the girl who was in it and her family to say it wasn't her. And I don't know who would want to go in and admit that that was them and taking that money and being able to disappear without, having to hear about it the rest of your life. I mean, I get where your parents would, it's a difficult spot to be in. But at the same time, I think a lot of people, he got by because he was not disseminating child pornography. But he beat that rap, whatever. I think he was, but it never was about the actual sexual act. It was about the documenting of it. I really look like my picture because I use my real name. Yes, it helped immensely meeting Julie, because I was like, oh, there's Julie. Same with Carl. Kelly's 52 years old, been going on forever. Yeah, and that's probably why he'll start getting busted by it. The same thing with the Cosby situation. Is at a certain point, it's amazing that there are certain predators out there that once you're no longer a threat, that's when they get you. You know what I mean? Like once, that's the tough part. Like, it's like catching a fugitive once they're in a wheelchair. No. It wasn't Perihelion. Damn it. Speaking of which, about the Florida mogul who owned a jet. You mean Jeffrey Epstein? Yeah. With the Lolita Express and the pedophile island? Yeah. That's a problem. And a lot of those people, kind of like Harvey Weinstein, because they have money, they get, pictures with every celebrity and and they get FaceTime with politicians because they've got money, and they donate not just to candidates, but also to causes. So you're like, okay, well, this guy gave $100,000 to my charity, so let's have a powwow. And then other times you like, he can't be that bad. He gave $100 million to this charity thing. Like, yeah, he is that bad. He did it as cover, the same way that Al Capone had orphanages. Oh, that's right, Fancy. You were on the Progressive Voices cruise. Sister is also OMAD, but I'm not quite there yet. 19.5. 19.5 is pretty strong, Mary. That's kind of all you need. The thing here is some black people will get defensive as they will feel we're all guilty for one person's actions and then point fingers at hypocrites. I mean, I don't doubt that you feel that way, but I also think there's a lot of internal can't be wrong. Don't give the bastards an inch. Blue line, circle the wagons thing that happens in a lot of communities, and I think it's easy to assume that when one community does it, that it's indicative of that community, not just human nature within communities. Especially communities that have been put upon or vilified a lot, they'll tend to this is the scary part, will let crime slide around them simply because they don't want to fuel it. We were talking yesterday, a few of us, about how one of the reasons why we don't know a lot of history about the rest of the world from an American point of view, people will say it's because, of sort of a white nationalist or white supremacist or ahistorical bent, or we only care about white history or whatever. There's a real move in some educational things to go, well, let's not talk about certain things that happen in history because they make certain groups look really bad, and we're, as a society, racist against them enough. So let's just pretend that stuff didn't happen and just talk about dates and move on. Again, it's human nature. It has nothing to do with any particular group. Harvey Weinstein hired contractors to employ people with military experience and intelligence to watch one of his victims. The agent who did the watching was a female intelligence officer. Right. But I'm out of work. You guys still here? Hello again. Hi, Ellie. I'm glad you had a short work day, I guess. We stick around for about an hour. That is called censorship, pal. Censorship, A is spelled with a C, but unless you're making some other reference. Yes, it is censorship. The question is, why are you censoring certain things? How you are like the LCSW. Before it ends, want to say thank you. Always have a thousand show. Julie Keller for doing such a great mining, taking you. Thank you, free thinker. I have my fingers crossed that Mueller's report will tie to Mr. Epstein's teen prostitution ring along with the Alan Dershowitz and Giuliani and put them to jail. That would be lovely. Anybody who, and even if this includes Bill Clinton and they tie this up, I don't care. Anybody who palled around with that dude and was okay with or aware of what he was up to has to go. They just got to go. Hard line, no, do not pass go directly to jail. Kurt, did you read about we talked a little bit last week about the little girl who was shot and the story around that. I posted when they finally got the guys who actually did it. I think now you might understand, why I was sort of reticent to kind of jump on the bandwagon of what it meant about a group of people. You know what I mean? Or I would know more if it had been some single white dude firing into a car because he's a maniac, made that indicative of white people, any more than these two guys who did this drive-by shooting, thought it was a rival gang's car, shot into the car and killed this little girl, are indicative of black people. You know what I mean? That's the problem that I have with any kind of racial tie or anything associating one black and one white guy, so not neo-Nazi. The two guys in the car were both black that shot the girl. Yeah, but either way, it doesn't matter because it's not indicative of black people in general any more than if it had been a single white guy, indicative of white people in general. And I think we do ourselves all a disservice anytime when we use race as a base point for behavior when it's pinned to the worst amongst any community. Because every community, humanity, has a 20% rate of monstrosity or illness or faltering moral character that's pretty strange. And so I thought the girl thought the shooter was white with blue eyes. No, she saw a white guy drive away in a red truck. He drove off when he heard gunshots. He ran from the scene like everybody else. She just saw him. So, but the actual shooters were two African American males in a car. Point being is they're not indicative. The victims were black too, so there's no indicative in any of this. And anytime we get into a situation where such and such a group is like this bad person, we bite the bait of the right, and I'm not willing to do it ever. Perhaps theater of death. The sister thought it might be the white man. Yeah. But it was not. Then I'm even more angry than I can't stand thugs. Well, they caught one of them with drugs in his car. He confessed to shooting the girl, led them to the gun that did it, that he had at his home. But the point is, of all of this, because crimes will happen every single day, and this, it's the same baiting that Trump tries to use with immigration. It's the same thing that people try to wedge against each other. There is nothing indicative about any particular racial group that makes them more or less violent, racist, homophobic than anything. There's cultural differences that can create that, but there's no blood-borne, cellular level human aspect that one particular group of humans is born into this, belief system that, life of another is not precious. It's a taught thing, is my point. And so, that's why you'll always find me pushing back against what this means, especially when it comes to one-on-one human crimes anytime, because, when we use that as an indicator, it's unhealthy. Always. You know what I mean? I will never let a criminal of another race define my belief about everyone else in that race. And if anybody does it about part Scottish people like myself, I'll push back against that as well. So it's just not, it's bad business. It's inhuman. And that's why I don't, sometimes I'll push back when Carrie talks about cisgender and all that kind of stuff. That the more you try to bifurcate and divide people up, the more you play into that hand. And it's just not something I'm willing to do. Now, when it's a group of people who have gathered together with a specific purpose, like the Charleston neo-Nazis saying Jews will not replace us or whatever, that group I'll talk crap about entirely. But I won't pin every other white person who lives in Charleston with those people, because there were more protesters against them than there were people in that march. The same thing, who are white. The same thing must apply in all those situations. It's a hard line that I carry. You may not necessarily want to participate in it, but there you go. California Border Guard, Chapter 1502. We aim to please you Spanish. No. Agree with everything you're saying, but the facts of the matter still stands. White supremacists are still itching to start a race war, and the shutdown is pushing us closer, as people say. I agree, but that doesn't, no matter what white supremacists want, it's not something that's indicative of all white people or even the majority of white people. And so I will push back against that, is my point. The same thing is also true. I mean, Kurt, go on YouTube and look up black preachers talking about small hats, which is Jews. There's dozens of them. They're girding for a war. Does that mean they're indicative of Baptist preachers? Of course not. And what they would love is for you to believe that. It's shocking to me that you actually were able to put together my Twitter, YouTube name, and my real person when I met you on your show in LA and remember it, and that shocked me. Oh, well, yeah, it was nice. It was great. I knew she wanted to hang out with me, but since I haven't heard her, okay. I missed that part. Do you want me to start on green people? Yeah, don't. King David Lane, first of all, it's not nice. And secondly, we all know that green people, since they are from other planets, have advanced technology that could wipe us all out. Can going to a house show a month after my 30th birthday still count as my birthday celebration? Absolutely. Blade. Let's see. Let's see if that was the... Let's see. Now I'm scrolling through games again. You got me. It's tough. So much stuff. Yeah. There's so many games, like... Oh yeah, there was a heavy metal Fact 2 game back then. Holy smokes. Trolls are crawling out of their holes. Yeah, that's because of the title. So, fix that typo, by the way. Are you going to try and go to Woodstock 2019? No, because I'm going to see Kiss multiple times. Thank you for deleting Elder the Dumber. Plant Pandora. Timothy McVeigh was counting on President Clinton to overreact to the federal building. Yeah, I mean, look at the plan behind Helter Skelter. I mean, what Manson hoped would happen, you know? Yeah, so. What if Kiss plays Woodstock? Then yes. Remember to kiss and tell. I'm still scrolling. I'm gonna be on a hunt for this for days. I just know it. How and where did you and Summer meet? We met on Celebricadabra. The first time I saw Summer, she appeared in a magic trick in a fish tank, in a giant water tank. The magician comes out and he's got two red handkerchiefs, and he moves them back and forth, and then he plunges his hands into this giant tank of water and starts running his hands back and forth with these two things, and then all of a sudden she appears and she's wearing a bikini that's the same material as the handkerchiefs, and the handkerchiefs are gone. It's a great trick and illusion, and so there you go. So that's the first time I ever laid eyes on her. How many goodbye tours has Kiss had? Almost as many as they've had lineups. Although this is the end of the road tour, and I think there's a caveat in this, because I think a lot of these bands are doing the No More tours like Ozzy is, and that just means they're not going to tour anymore. They're going to do residencies, meaning they'll do a month in Vegas or a month in New York, a month in a big city, and people will come there, which I actually think is a decent business model. You learned nothing from the 90s. Yeah. I think we learned something. More porta potties. Magic trick in a fish tank. Yeah, that's how the magic always works for me. Well, the problem with Woodstock is that it was really, Lollapalooza is a lot closer, or Ozfest or any of these other concert venues. It's a very different thing between just a giant festival like Download or something and the kind of stuff like Woodstock. Woodstock was literally like a anti-Vietnam War act of protest in a lot of ways. It was meant as, it was basically an anti-war protest with all these bands. So like the other Woodstocks just didn't have that meaning at all, So yeah, that's, I mean, I think that's my, How did you like the movie Taking Woodstock with Dimitri Martin? I think it's pretty good. I have not seen it. Bye, Tom. Peace. Yeah, I'm almost over time already. I already went 10 minutes over. So I'll wrap up as well. Let's see. And I missed something while I was reading. Let's see. All the way from Deutschland. Wait, magic isn't real, so by transitive property, summer isn't real? Doink. Do not mix up magic and math. You should know this by now. Let's see. Thank you, Kurt. Take care of yourself. First concert was Jay Giles Band in Boston Garden in '83. That's pretty impressive. Absolutely, Zelda Chick. It's really great to hang out with you guys afterwards. I'm glad we can do these post shows. And for those of you who watch or only catch little pieces of this,